Welcome back, everyone, and happy Friday. This is Brown Bag Bets, powered by BETSPERTS. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christenson. Joining me, as always, Mr. Andy Molitor from the BETSPERTS bungalow. But it's Friday, and it's not just Friday, Andy. It's a college football Chris Fallica Friday. Again, and I can actually hear Chris this time. We're both going to get to talk to him.
We got great Wi-Fi here, great audio. I'm glad to talk to both of you this week, and looking forward to it's a weird week. I've kind of labeled it like "Don't overreact Saturday" in college football, because I think that's an overriding theme for the weekend.
Yeah, we'll get to one of the games. We'll get to the game where you are located right now, Dan, in Ames. That's the ultimate in don't overreact to that game, because that was one of your big games from last week. Because you loved Iowa -4. I know some other people were on that as well, and like that was the biggest struggle for maybe me, who doesn't do as much with college football. It's like, oh man, Iowa just smoked them last week, and I need to be on this. And Iowa State didn't look as good. I was giving an Iowa State alum a little hard time about that. He's, Northern Iowa, that's a real tough squad. But first off the bat, we had some Michigan-Washington action.
Yeah, I think this is a massive overreaction to what we saw last week. The look-ahead line in this game was 1, and now it's 7. And look, their offense was terrible last week. They had some problems on the offensive line. Quarterback, first-time starter, threw 3 picks. Receivers really struggled. But I think at the same time, the defense really did play well. Michigan is not going to be able to overpower the Washington defensive front like they were on Western Michigan MAC front and run the ball at will like they did a week ago. There's no Ronnie Bell at wide receiver. McNamara is going to have to make some much more difficult throws than he did last week. 7 points seems like it's too many, especially based off what we thought going into the year. Maybe ultimately it'll play out differently, but I like UW plus the 7.
And I think you always get a little bit of bias, Big Ten over Pac-12. I think people think of like the Big Ten guys kind of running over the Pac-12 guys. So I always kind of like that little bit of a fade as well. What did you have, Andy?
Yeah, I know a couple people who took some positions on Washington under their regular season win total, which, again, they're getting 7 points. It's not like you straight up going against that. Although, they could get it done here, but at the same time, it is something like you're getting a full touchdown. This game probably does end up a little closer, and it's 48.5. Maybe isn't that low for NFL, because I'm still in NFL mode for last night. But for a couple of teams in college football, this is kind of a lower total. So lower totals are conducive to getting the underdog. So yeah, I don't hate this at all.
Yeah, I can see this also being an under game if you're subscribing to the theory that the game is going to play out the way I think it is, with Michigan struggling to move the ball. Washington probably is going to score a ton of points with the way their offense is. That does seem like the total is a little higher than it probably should be.
No, for sure. Yeah, and somebody in the chat, under 24 first half. Oh man, under 24, under first halves of college football is like unders in soccer for me. Like that stuff, I might not even watch the game if I go with that. We did mention Iowa State, and I said, just like casual college football bettor Andy just looked at that. I'm like, God, how much is Iowa going to be favored by? Because I don't keep college power numbers. Of course, that's not the case. But yeah, the only top 10 matchup on the board, and where you'll be this weekend down in Cyclone Country.
Yeah, I think the number is down a little bit too from what the look-ahead line was. And look, I liked Iowa. We talked about it last week. A bunch of people did. Keep in mind, though, they did score 2 non-offensive touchdowns, 2 pick sixes. Quarterback Spencer Petras was just 13 of 27 for $145. And Iowa State has had a propensity in recent years to struggle in their opening game, whether it's been Northern Iowa, who they needed overtime to beat a couple of years ago. Last year they lost to Louisiana in its opener. So this is the weekend that Iowa State has really been focusing on. They did enough to get by last week. I think Iowa is going to have to start fast, because if they don't, you're looking at an Iowa State team that, if you go back over the last 6 games, they've allowed 16 points in the second half. John Hickok and Matt Campbell do a great job of adjusting throughout the game and keeping their team. This is why they're starting to win these close games now, because they do such a good job in the second half, keeping opponents off the board. So I like Iowa State in the game, laying the 4.5. I think Iowa has the feel of public underdog written all over them. And at the same time, if you also believe the Iowa State second half theory, maybe you play Iowa State second half, maybe you play under in the second half. There are a bunch of ways to potentially go with that information.
Yeah, I didn't get involved in this one at all. Now I wish I would have grabbed an early number, but I'll watch this one for sure. But Iowa State.
Do they have a trophy for this one? Is there like a big Hawkeye they play for?
Yeah, the Cyhawk trophy. Yes,
I like
probably
I love a trophy.
Second best trophy that Iowa could win outside of the Pig. Floyd of Rosedale might be number one in all of college football. Truthfully, I'm not even just because I'm wearing a Gophers basketball shirt. Not just because I'm a Minnesota owner. Oh, what did that leave us with? TCU Cal? Yeah, again, we won't sit and slander Texas. That's the game we'll be watching tonight, obviously, with the primetime game. And producer Dan is a UT alum, so he'll be nervously watching his squad. Yeah, he'll be watching his squad. That'll be a good one, too. But, yeah, Cal at TCU, a bigger spread here. A total in the mid-40s, 47, but a bigger spread here. TCU minus 11.5.
It seems like a lot. Cal, Nevada last week, you saw Cal race out to a 14-0 lead right off the bat. And then they just struggled in the red zone. They didn't score until later in the game. Carson Strong and Nevada were able to make enough plays through the air to beat the Bears. But I think 11.5 is too many here. Justin Wilcox is back in that beloved role as an underdog. And at Cal, as a head coach, he's 19-8 against a number with 12 outright wins. As a dog, just feels like, again, one of those teams that last year was supposed to be Cal's year. And then they only played 4 games because of COVID. And I think they really had a little bit of a chip on their shoulder this year to kind of prove that they were deserving that hype last year. Now, it didn't necessarily show in the opener because they wound up losing to Nevada. But I think against TCU on the road in the spot of a big underdog, I think the Bears are the right side here.
What time is this one? Is this a late one?
This is let me see when TCU is. I think it's at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, we were looking. There is the Holy War is at like 10. But again, I'm living on West Coast time. Like, this is my usually washed. I'm old. I'm washed. I can't stay up and watch some of those late night games. Like when Justin Herbert got drafted, I'm like, I'm not sure I've seen this guy play. like I just didn't catch much Oregon game because I'm too tired to stay up that late. But yeah, I'm on West Coast time, and I've been staying up super late in Vegas. So I'm going to catch out for sure.
It's great to be out there like during the Australian Open when the times all really screwed up, because it's usually when the Australian Open runs when the NHC National Handicapping Champion is, and I'm always out there at the end of January for that. And it's awesome to like just watch matches basically like through it's terrific. So no need for a watch or a clock.
Yeah. And then just NFL last night. We'll kind of touch on that a little before we let you go here. Did you have anything last night? Did you have any luck? I played a bunch of props, and now I think I did okay last night, which is going to throw me into this overconfidence mode. Like, all right, we got the NFL figured out this week. But any quick looks at anything Sunday yet? Because gosh, no,
I didn't play anything last night because I'm in a bunch of like Survivor. I team up with this guy in Survivor. He wanted to use the Bucs, so I said, "Fine, go ahead." It's a terrible pick because you don't want to use it, and he was very quiet during the course of the evening, and then he replied, of course, with the never in doubt type message at the end of the. But it wasn't a game that I wanted to get involved in. NFL this Sunday, if I had to play a couple of things, then maybe look at Atlanta laying the points against the Eagles. I don't think. I'm not very high on Philadelphia this year. And then I thought, despite all the issues that Minnesota has had in the offseason, I thought that the Vikings are probably the right side against the Bengals, too. I don't have a ton of respect for that coaching staff. So even with Joe Burrow back, I thought the Vikings were the right side. 2 other things in college while I still have you. I thought Ball State I think it's like 23 and a half. It's a big number. It's north of 3 touchdowns at Penn State. Penn State didn't do a whole lot offensively last week. They had a couple of big pass plays in the second half. Their defense was on the field for 95 plays. They escaped with the win. You've got Auburn coming in for the whiteout game next week. And you have a Ball State team which has a ton of starters back from the team that won the MAC last year. This feels like a lot of points, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Ball State hang around for a while here and be in this game. And the other thing I was looking at would be a Wisconsin team total, the team that Penn State played last week. I mentioned the 95 plays. There were some red zone issues for the Badgers last week. This kind of feels like a get right for the Wisconsin offense type week against a MAC defense that I think is going to be without a few starters on defense. So Graham Mertz and that Badgers offense could I think the Wisconsin team total I saw was 38.5. So a potential look at that too.
I did want to ask you, though, about the Utah-BYU game. I think we touched on that just quickly. That should be a really fun game. Utah's 21. I'm seeing BYU getting 7 points. I've heard a couple people on BYU. Did you have a play or any thoughts there?
It's funny. When Stanford Steve and I did the podcast earlier in the week, he had this pegged as his line that stunk. And it does. It's a team in Utah that has dominated the series. BYU did not look good in the opener at Arizona without Zach Wilson, without Jeff Grimes, the offensive coordinator, and it's only 7. It seems like a very odd number. I'd be careful laying the points with Utah in this game. If I had to play it, I would probably abide by the smelly line rule and go with the way of the stench and go with BYU.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm probably just going to be enjoying that one because at that point in the night in Las Vegas, I should be doing other fun things rather than worrying about a couple of teams from Utah at that point. I think you did convince me on Wisconsin, and maybe it's because they owe me some money. Like a good point with the red zone stuff.
Did you have them last week?
I bet them second half. It's like, all right, they're moving. They can't get any points because the red zone is, and that just never came to fruition. So Wisconsin Mertz, they owe me some money. I'll probably get on that. And thanks again for joining us.
Of course, tomorrow night you can celebrate your Emma Raducanu winnings from the U.S. Open Women's Final as well.
God. I'm excited to watch that. Well, we'll touch on some tennis yet today, but follow Mr. Fallica on Twitter and obviously watch him on TV. We got some game day. It's Saturday tomorrow, and we'll let you get back at it. Thanks for joining us again. We'll catch you next week, and good luck with all your bets this week, Chris.
Absolutely. Same to you guys. Good talking to you again. Do it all over again next week.
Oh yeah, for sure.
See you, Chris. I still don't know if I want to talk about this or not.
How did he pronounce it?
He went Raducanu, I believe.
Raducanu? We still.
It seems like it's Raducanu. It seems like it's Raducanu or Raducanu, something like that. Raducanu. Anyway,
Raducanu. We will touch on that. We'll talk a little tennis quick before we go. Not a lot. There's only a few Friday games. There's baseball is kind of an afterthought for me at this point. We'll still get some baseball guests on as we go because the playoffs are fun. Maybe we'll get somebody to talk about some series prices once we actually get to the playoffs. There's only about 20 games left. Go Giants, go Phillies. But some just tennis today. And have you taken an early look at the unlikeliest of the Grand Slam finals? Which this is maybe getting lost a little because it is football season. This is wild. These are two teenagers.
I have to go back. They sent out, I believe this is the first time a qualifier has ever made the final of a Grand Slam, at the very least on the WTA side. That is Miss Raducanu or Raducanu, however you decide to say it. But Emma is out here just messing things up. Talked a little bit with Drew about this, was spread about this, and I've talked to everybody that I know that bets tennis and handicaps tennis, and they're just kind of flummoxed at this point. We just don't really know what to do. We're looking at a line right here where Emma is minus 170, Leylah Fernandez plus 135. I know there were some discussions. People expected Fernandez to be favored in this match. I still continue to kind of be flabbergasted. I'm just going to keep watching it. We have two very young players that I think we are going to see a lot of over the next couple years. It's interesting to see Fernandez come out of what is a pretty talented group of Canadians. We're talking about Andreescu for a while, but maybe she is the one that kind of grabs hold of things here for a little bit. She has the consistency, and she has a really nice game. I think that she's someone that we all thought would be pretty good. Emma, I don't know that we thought that she would ever reach these heights, let alone so quickly. So, again, she's kind of outside of the scope of anything that I've been able to sort of wrap my head around as well as anybody else. So it'll be a really fun final. I think I kind of like the under here, 21.5. I think if you like Emma to win this match, grab her 2-0, lay the games with her, playing under. She hasn't lost a set, I believe, the entire tournament. So I don't see any reason for that not to continue, but as you guys can tell, I'm not terribly confident. So if you're looking for something, I don't mind Emma minus 2.5 games. I'll jump on the train late here. Hopefully it doesn't fall off the rails, Andy.
Yeah, I don't know. Both of these stories are so fun, and Fernandez actually has a name that I know how to say, but I'm probably on the Raducanu train as well, as far as a cheering interest. So I'm not interested in laying the 170. I did it with Zachary. Obviously, it didn't work out, but I saved some juice by selling out to 3 games. That might be my plan here. So
it's good to lose less.
Yeah, I'll be watching that. Otherwise, the men's semis are tonight. I think it was my deep dive cohort who said about Zverev, which I watched on the plane, the Zverev match. It was like, all right, he's winning decisively, but it's not all on his racket. I think the phrasing was he didn't do anything that showed me that he could beat Joker, on that side. So it's like, yeah, this price is probably pretty fair. Minus 4.5, obviously, it's these bigger spreads you're going to see if you don't bet a lot of Grand Slam men's tennis, best of 5. You're going to get I don't know what the equivalent. I'm sure somebody's worked that out, the equivalency in a 3-set match, but I probably 4.5 is actually a little cheap here. I think Zverev might just get smoked in this one. I don't know if you've taken anything.
I was poking around maybe for like a Novak 3-1 kind of thing. Novak, something kind of in that range. I don't mind the over here, 38.5 games. This does feel like at least a 4-set match to me as I look at it. I did come into this hoping to back Zverev. I think that Djokovic has looked good, but not at his best. Zverev has been playing solid tennis. And as you look at kind of everybody that is in the tour at this point, it's Zverev or Medvedev that could really knock him off. So we'll have 2 shots at it here. But as I look at these numbers, I was hoping for something, closer to 3-1 on Zverev. So no interest in the money line there. No. I think, like you said, the 4.5 is really dangerous. That looks to me like they're expecting Zverev to take a set or there to be a tie break in here. I think there's just a lot of things that can really mess up kind of this number, especially like say this set Zverev wins is a tiebreaker. Then you've got a guy who's won a set and you feel like an idiot because, it's only one game and Djokovic wins the next 3, 3, and 4 or something like that. So if you like Zverev, I would look at maybe like a Zverev 3-1 kind of thing at the same side. If you like Djokovic, maybe go on the other side.
Yeah, I got home 6 hours ago or something stupid.
Were you boys out having fun?
We were hanging out with part of the Circa risk room, as well as there's some WinBet people in there, at least one. Got to, we just down at Circa got to meet Derek Stevens, met some cool dudes, and I met the guy that works their tennis lines. So I just asked him how he does it. Just said, well,
I'm sitting at home like an idiot.
Yeah, he's like, there's other books that do a really good job of this that we can kind of shade to. That's what a lot of people do with tennis. So, yeah, Zverev, if it were a bigger number, you could maybe get in as live dog. If you really like Zverev, I think probably the over is a good look. Might have to be interested in the Joker 3-0 if you like him and you're worried about laying the games, although he has been dropping sets. The other semifinal may be a little more interesting. But at the same time, it's the bigger favorite of the two. Medvedev, a massive favorite, 6.5 games, and a little lower total here too. This is kind of implying the run over. And Medvedev, I believe, again, going back to Drufus, he kind of said Medvedev is your chance for someone who can take out Joker. Although Joker's looked a little beatable, so I won't bet this match. But from a fan standpoint, I would love some Medvedev Joker to watch on Sunday as well.
Yeah, I think if you're looking to back Medvedev in the final, now's the time. See if you can get an outright price on him still. I haven't had a chance to look and see what that number is, but I think grabbing it now, you're going to do much better if Djokovic does win. If Zverev does upset the apple cart, you're going to look like a genius. You'll have Medvedev at a plus number in a match that I expect him to be favored. And so I would look to do something like that if you're going to back Medvedev. This particular match, I do think Daniel can kind of run away with this in 3 sets. I think we might get one kind of tight set in the first there. Maybe FAA can steal it 7-6, 7-5, something like that. But once you get past, the first set or two, Medvedev really kind of grinds you down and you see him pull away in those third sets. So the 6.5 isn't the worst idea. Maybe wait live and see if FAA can keep it competitive. Maybe it'll get down to 6, 5.5 or something like that. But I think Medvedev outright is probably the best look today, if of anything.
Yeah, and it's like Rocky IV if it were realistic. Like the Russian is just going to wear on you, and by the 10th round, like you should literally be not able to lift your head or hands. Like Rocky IV's awesome, but that's not how it goes in real life. Like he's just going to wear on you, and it's going to be a struggle if you're down 2-0. Like I'm not saying someone's going to tank a set, just go home or retire in a Grand Slam semifinal, but boy, it is tough to dig out of those holes. Oh, I'm excited. I'm going to watch these tonight. I'm going to watch some. There's 4 college football games. I feel like producer Dan might be chanticleering it this evening. I think I know some other people have a couple looks. If you guys have any looks for tonight's game, by all means, tweet me. I'm looking for some action because I probably won't bet too much. And obviously,
Vegas Andy needs action.
I did live bet some baseball. I'm 1-0 in live bet baseball games. So, what I won't be doing is prize picking because Nevada is not letting me. It is a state who is very DFS unfriendly, as anybody who followed. Rufus Peabody had a fun run-in with that when he made it out to the desert again. But, yeah, when I get home, and actually I might just text the wife and have her put some entries in because PrizePicks is topping. Probably the Brady thing was good. Like, that was fine. This one is probably better because with the PrizePicks entry, you have to do at least 2 players. You have to do at least 2 different legs to get your entry. Basically, just giving you a free one. So you can put together an entry, and you just have to come up with one winner. You have to find a golf winner, a tennis winner, a CS:GO, baseball, football, no matter what you want. You just have to find the one because this is just an effing gimme. Mahomes over 0.5 passing yards. You use the code BETSPERTS, and you can enter your and still get your 100% deposit match up to $100. Plus, on top of that, pretty much giving you half a winner already. So, I do want to thank all the people who did sign up and the support for our content, whether it was using the BETSPERTS codes or the BBB codes, because we did have a nice flush. And honestly, it's because NFL's back, and it's a lot more fun to do this with the NFL. So we do appreciate the support there. And if you haven't already, obviously use the code BETSPERTS to get the good deposit match and a freebie. I think this might be available to not just new accounts. I don't know. Double check. I'll double check with the guys over at PrizePicks. But go look for the Mahomes passing yards over because it is going to make this game a lot easier. And I did bet the Browns. I have the Browns +6. So hopefully Mahomes is 3 yards passing.
That's a good bet. That's down to 5.5 right now, I think.
Yeah, it is catching some steam. Makes me happy. So,
Alex,
what are you up to this weekend?
But Atlantic City, going to have a bachelor party for my soon-to-be brother-in-law. Try to get some people signed up for WinBet, of course. Get them all set up. I mean, it's going to be week 1 of the NFL. I'm curious to see what it's like in Atlantic City. For those of you that haven't been in a while, just hold on to those memories. Don't go checking on anything yet. It's kind of it's become a rough place. Somebody kind of came in, took a bunch of money, ran away, and the building was still trying to figure out what to do with that. The Borgata is still really nice. I hear Ocean might be okay, even though still terribly confusing. But should be an interesting weekend. A lot of White House hoagies. Oh, no. Andy, I guess, heard me talking about hoagies and left to try to get something to eat. But I think that's just about all we had. I don't know, Producer Dan, if there was anything else that we had to talk about. But there he is. Is he back? Oh, he's back.
Yeah,
there he is. I thought you might have heard me talking about hoagies and ran to get something to eat.
Slip of the finger. I did eat some pretty good sandwich at a place called Sags at Circa last night. I recommend it.
It is very good.
I recommend that place. So, all right. Well, you'll be in AC. I'll be in Vegas. The rest of you, wherever you are, good luck with all your bets. Sign up for WinBet. Sign up for PrizePicks. Make sure you have your BETSPERTS account. Do all the stuff that makes me happy. And then do all the stuff that makes you happy and win every one of your bets. Good luck on college football Saturday and the first real week of NFL. I'm so jacked. So thanks a lot, guys. And everyone have a good one.